Okay, good evening and welcome to Shiva YouTube, Iyun. Today we're discussing Masechah Shabbos, Perek Aleph, Mishnah Hay. Mishnah Hay states in Machlokas in Beis Hillel and Shammai about Mishnah. I think the next Mishnah talks about it's related to other malachas also, but it discusses making a dye. You want to put some uh, animal food or plant in water and make a dye out of it. So the malacha, what you're interested is if the water turns a color and you made a dye. So what about putting in the raw element a minute before Shabbos, where the water is not going to turn colors until after Shabbos has already began? So according to Beis Hillel, it's completely mutter. That's how we pass. It's completely mutter because you did the malacha, the physical action that I did was before Shabbos. So even though the point of my malacha is that it's create a dye, and the dye was created on Shabbos, but my malacha, my ma'aseh, right? You can light candles before Shabbos, even though it continues to burn on Shabbos, right? Because I did the halakha, the ma'aseh halakha before Shabbos, so therefore it's okay. And Beis Shammai argues. Beis Shammai says you can't do this, right? You have to soak it with enough time that it becomes a dye before Shabbos, because if it becomes a dye on Shabbos itself, it's a problem. So what's the svara of Beis Shammai? Even though in Pascha Beis Shammai, it's nice to understand what Beis Shammai is a legitimate opinion, right? An academy of Shammai students, they all believe this. What do they believe? So the Gemara explains in Masechah Shabbos that they hold of shvisas kelev, right? Not only do you have to be careful that you shouldn't do malacha, and we're going to learn also Masechah Shabbos, you have to be careful your animals don't do malacha on Shabbos, which Beis Hillel agrees with. They argue about what about your kalim, right? We're talking about over here where you're soaking the dyes in your own pots. So even though you're not doing anything, but your pots are working on Shabbos because the dye is being created on them on Shabbos. According to Beis Shammai, that's a problem. Why should we worry? I can understand why you should be worried that your animal shouldn't be doing something, because animals actually doing something, right? Animals are live objects. They move, they breathe, they have a ma'aseh, they have an action they're doing. The kli is not doing anything. It's an inanimate object. There's no life in a pot. So what exactly is it doing? So I like to suggest, according to Beis Shammai, that he has a very different understanding of malacha on Shabbos. We'll have to talk about this more through the Masechta, but his understanding of malacha on Shabbos is when I do borer on Shabbos, or I do bishul on Shabbos, or cook on Shabbos. It's not, according to Beis Hillel, it's like the action of putting food in hot water and cooking on Shabbos. That's the problem with the malacha. According to Beis Shammai, it's a bias. It's the ownership, right? It's, yes, when you cook food, right? When I cook food on Shabbos, I put in hot water and it cooks. So it's not so much that I did an action of putting the food in the water. It's that I made a change, right? I changed the when you put, right. The Gemara in Baba Kama talks about that shinoi kona. If you change an item, right, you steal something and you change it, right, to a different object, right? You steal a piece of wood, right, and you cut it up and make a tree house. So it's a shinoi ma'aseh. The Gemara says your kona, right? Technically, your kona, you only have to pay. You get to keep the tree house, and you don't have to pay them money back. It's kona. So when I make a shinoi in something, when I bishul is a shinoi, it's a difference, right? Or these pots that are holding the dyes, they became something else. It was a raw plant, and now it's a colored water. So something happened, a shinoi happened. So these pots, Jesus K love, right? They belong to you. Even though the pots didn't do anything, it's not about doing anything. It's about shinoi, making a change, and that is defined by your ownership. Are you the owner of these kalim, right? It happened in the pots, so I'm the owner of the kalim. So therefore, the change is on my account. When I mavashal something, I cook something, I try to put it in hot water and it cooks. So I changed it. It's not because I put the physical act of putting the food in the hot water and then cooking. It's the act of changing it. The act of changing it from an uncooked food to a cooked food. And when you change something, you're kone, you have bias over it. And that's why the Isra on Shabbos is for exhibiting bias, exhibiting ownership over something, in order to make a change, because a change exhibits ownership over something. And that's the sort of Beis Shammai. We don't pass on like Beis Shammai, but it's interesting to note Beis Shammai's view of malacha on Shabbos. We'll talk more about this as we go forward. Hope you enjoyed tonight's shir. See you in the next one.